welcome to the very first episode of Might Be Manic, where we spiral, but we spiral cute. And this is intentional with just the right amount of beautiful chaos. So this is not just an episode, but this is the kickoff of an entire season of glow-ups and grief, soul contracts and conspiracy theories, celebrity culture, shadow work, and we're going to get spicy. We're going to get spiritual. And then we're going to get deeply real. Each week, we'll go ahead and break open questions like, did I choose this life? Is healing a scam or a market? Is it an industry now? Why do pretty people get away with ugly things? And most importantly, who the hell am I now? And plus, we might even touch on Justin Bieber's new album because you know how I feel about Justin. So, you're not just listening, you're also a part of the ship. This is for the disruptors, the chaos makers, the people who are like, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I'm just going to say this. The people who say things, the people like, I hate people like y'all. Welcome, the misfits, okay? This is your ministry right here. So let's get into it. First things first, I want to let you guys know about something I did because I always do something. I got to do something. Ask about me. So, do you like money? Because I think money's my first love. It's the deepest one that it's my longest term relationship is the one that I have with money. And the most stable. Can I get an amen? Okay, so beat the play. This season, I've hidden Easter eggs, metaphorical Easter eggs in every single episode. And it's fall. Who knew? So I picked 10 secret words. I'll be dropping one per episode. You'll know that the word has been dropped because directly afterwards, you'll hear some out-of-pocket sound. It may be X-Files, it may be a doorbell, it may be a chicken, whatever. And you're going to have to collect all 10 words. It will be said one time. Submit your list to Might Be Manic, the podcast at gmail.com. And I will remind you, this will be on November 30th on actually my favorite episode so far called Would You Fumble the Bag? We'll talk about it. What you'll be able to do then is if you get all 10 words right, I'll enter you into the season 1 icon drawing. And what are the prizes? Well, you'll be sent an e-gift card, and this will be live streamed on both Facebook and Riverside FM. And if you just want to listen, it'll also just be on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But I will be sending e-gift cards during the episode after I draw your name on live. And they will be the options of either first place 100 icon of the season. You'll be named if you want. $100. Second place, $75. And third place, $50. E-gift card right then and there. You get one gift card you can win one time. I'll send it to you an email and you'll have a very, very Merry Christmas from the Might Be Manic squad, which is me, a one-woman wrecking machine. I mean, my son's here. And so everybody who gets it right gets to be entered. So all you got to do is listen to make some money. We both make money if you listen. So we're going to pull names during the live season finale. Additionally, I want to give you an update each week, but I also want to give you an opportunity to tell me what happened to you in the past 7 days, what unspooled in the universe for you. So, since this is the season premiere, I'm going to go ahead and give you a recap of my last 7 days because it's been a 7. And I don't mean out of 10, it's been a crazy 7 days. And also, anytime now or during the episode or even afterwards, anytime today, because it's midnight, so technically it's the daytime. So anytime before the following midnight or anytime during the week, I'm laid back. Go ahead and email me and the subject should be tea time. Tell me what happened for you this week. And the first 2 people that do it, you'll be featured next week. And if you want to be anonymous, let me know. Because if you don't say it, I mean, I'm pretty sure anyone listening to this says stuff with their chest because you gotta be a me, like me, you know. And but if you want to be anonymous, let me know and I will respect that. But I will share your tea time next week. So if you make the subject tea time, it'll be easier for me to find it. But I'm able to look through it. Drop your girl a message, and we'll hear about what your 7 days was like next Sunday. So this week, something that surprised me the most is how much I've grown, okay? I've been able to become cool again with people. And also, I didn't do so without an apology. I actually got the apology before I became cool with them, which I used to always forgive people who weren't sorry. I would just tell myself they are, because I felt like if I had not stood my ground, I would have nobody in my life. Have you ever felt like that? Like if you stood on business, there'd be nobody left. But that's what happened when I was being somebody that I wasn't. When I started being myself, the people who are for me found me. You know what I'm saying? And when I was being somebody else, I found somebody else's people. And your people probably been with me. And that was the biggest issue. Now I will require an apology. I'm a very forgiving person. I'm a Pisces. So, I mean, we are until we're not. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that I won't forgive you. I will distance myself to the point of like in the first 48. Like, you'll never see me again. You know what I'm saying? But now I demand an apology because I have no problem apologizing. And it's part of like growing to have the humility to apologize. What's the big deal? It's a word. It's a word for you, but it could change my life. So I require that. Because if someone is like, I'm not wasting a word, you shouldn't be here, baby. Bye-bye. That's how I feel. Bye-bye. So this week, I got the apologies that I never thought I would get. And that meant something to me, more than someone would honestly know. So, you know, it's been a process learning to stand on business. And that's been something I've been really proud of myself for doing. Snaps for Matt. I want to know about your week. Send me that email about tea time, girlfriend. All right. I want to know. I want to know, bestie. And while we're talking about standing on business, this could be the perfect spot for you to stand on business. See, if you want to be promoted on this podcast, all you have to do is drop me a line. Okay? Pro promo. Make the subject pro promo. And so I don't accidentally think you're sharing your week update with me, because I might share your business accidentally. So make sure you're, really efficient and you're deliberate about sending me these things. Because like I said, Pisces, I just kind of am gullible. So I sometimes will just go with it. But I can, try to puzzle it. But we're all about good vibes and big love over here. And your business could be right at home here with us at Might Be Manic. So if you've got something special to share, we would love to hear from you. Like I said, make the subject pro promo and email mightbemanic@gmail.com. And let's see what magic we can make together, because I'd love for you to meet my friends. Because if she's friends with me, if he's friends with me, they got some paper to spend, and I would love to see you put on. So stand on business right in this spot. This would be your moment. And I want that for you. You're welcome. So let's go ahead and check in, because right now it is Libra season. And bestie, the skies are buzzing with main character energy. So people born this week are romantic idealists. They're soulmate seekers. That's what they say. They're soulmate seekers. I'm just not that one, I guess. And I'm going through a breakup with the Libra. Well, I didn't go through it. It's gone through. I'm through it. And I'm moving on. If his sign doesn't start with an A, get back. Back. Okay? And maybe a Taurus. But let's move on. The people born this week, they like deep conversations, intellectual stimulation, and beauty and harmony in partnerships. So like I said, it could have just been a bad fit. Because honestly, air signs can be really, really great people. No cap, they can. So here's your reminder for the people born under the sign. Or if you have Libra in your chart or a rising sign, this would also apply to you. Balance isn't real if you're breaking yourself in half to keep the peace. So often I find Libras have the scales as their sign, right? They're supposed to be a sign of balance. But have you ever met a Libra with work-life balance? Guys, take a break. You guys don't have work-life balance. And I admire your work ethic. But aren't you supposed to be the scale? It's everything in moderation. Even drinking too much water can be harmful. Lighten up. You're good at your job. Lighten up. This week, Venus is amplifying everything. So expect intense clarity in relationships, heightened emotions, and unexpected reconnections. I know that's right. Spiritually, you're called to restore harmony where there's chaos. So whether that's family, community, or your own internal storms, Libra energy makes you crave alignment on every level. Okay? And watch air sign new moons and Venus transits for lucky shifts, especially on the 6th, 15th, and 24th. So the 24th is coming. So you've had some good days this month. Unfortunately, there's only one remaining that I had time to warn you about. So be intentional with your time. Do that for yourself. So should we get into the daily dive? Because I got something I want to talk to you about. Bestie, let's talk about the halo effect, okay? Because this is something that lives rent-free, like it's squatting in my mind, and it does. It does it. I think about this a lot. So this is the glitch in your brain that decides someone's good at everything just because they're good at one thing or they're good looking. It's the shortcut your brain decides to make free of charge. Psychologist Edward Thorndike coined it in 1920 after noticing something wild in the military. And this was if a soldier looked sharp, officers automatically assumed they were better at everything. And I mean everything. Smarter, stronger, and more trustworthy without any evidence to back this up. And it was noted, like, you know what I'm talking about. So even a century later, this is happening every day, everywhere. And this is what we call the halo effect. So TikTok, this is when I was actually introduced to TikTok, was when I saw something going around that was about the downside of pretty privilege. And I thought that was quite interesting because I was like, what downside? Like that's what your initial response is. Just like you would be like, what downside of having $1 million? But someone with $1 million could tell you a lot of them, especially around tax season. So TikTok calls it pretty privilege. Instagram calls it main character energy. I call it halo effect. I didn't coin that. I didn't coin it. So let the record show that I never said I made that up. But that's what I call it. So the halo effect is why people with symmetrical faces get trusted faster. I posted a picture of my baby daddy in the Busted magazine on my Facebook this week. And I told my son, this should be the cover of the episode about the halo effect. Because he definitely has some of the worst charges on that page. And he's great looking. And I mean, this guy gets away with everything. Everything. And honestly, it's the halo effect. It's got to be. Because, I'm not like one of those people that's going to be like, just because I don't date you anymore, you're ugly. No, I never have dated an ugly man. Not to me. Not to me. He's not. Not by anyone's standards. And, that's the halo effect. That's the halo effect working. People with facial symmetry are actually trusted quicker, studies have shown. And it's also why hiring managers pick someone who looks like a leader before even reading their resume. It's why the justice system literally gives attractive defendants lighter sentences. And there are studies on this and actual data. I've seen it firsthand. It's no joke. It's why sometimes the prettiest person in the room is the most underestimated and the most overestimated simultaneously. You get handed rooms, but then you get questioned for how you got the keys to them. Because how do you get in here? But then they look at you and they'll say, that's how you got in here. Regardless of whether you're qualified or not. Like they'll invite you to the table and then ask you to prove you deserve this chair. You didn't know the chairs were musical. Isn't that so interesting, you guys? And listen, I got to be honest with you, bestie. I'm like, it's 2025. I have 4 syringes in my lips as we speak. My lips are heavier than some people's backpacks on a Friday. I will swipe my card to get rid of insecurities. Like there's a rewards program attached to it. And that's just how I feel. Like I said, I've never claimed to be a natural beauty. I'm strategically enhanced. But isn't that a part of this too? Because the halo effect rewards the illusion, not the reality. I remember when I got my lips done, and someone said, you're pretty. But I'm a different category of pretty because I'm not naturally pretty. I'm modified pretty. Now, all of it is pretty. But I told my kids this is a different type of pretty. Because it's a pretty that's not necessarily... Some people are born with it, but I wasn't. So it's like, yeah, thanks. And I do appreciate it. But I paid for this. It's not really what I want. And it's so interesting because after I got my lips done and I lost a lot of weight, got my body done, got my stomach taken out, thrown in the incinerator, I used to put so much time into my Facebook Reels. And anyone who's my friend on Facebook knows I used to post videos of everything I would do. I'm monetized now, though. And I was like monetized then, but I didn't get paid. And I have 1 million views on some videos. But now I'll get 30 views and I get paid. I'm not saying, but I'm saying, what changed? Well, I lost 151 pounds and I got 4 syringes put in my face and I got facial balancing done. And I'll do so much more if I felt the need. But that's crazy because I don't put in anywhere near the effort I used to. You can call it what you want, okay? And it's also a big crux when you go from not benefiting from the halo effect to benefiting. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't feel like I benefit from the halo effect, but it also is a double-edged sword because for me, either I do benefit from it or I absolutely don't. I live in Central Oregon. I've lived here since the 90s. It's 0.05% Black here. So either I will get something because of how I look or I won't get something because of how I look. But very, very rarely, unless you meet special people who are normal, which they should be, but they're not. You'll get it because you were qualified or you weren't. But I don't really enter rooms I'm not qualified to be in. But there have absolutely been times the way I look has stopped me from having things. And there's absolutely been times where the way I look has been the only reason I got something. So it's really interesting because the halo effect is wavering and it does change depending on zip code. It does change depending on weight. It changes depending on environment. It changes depending on the crowd. So it's not like it always. I mean, there's some people like Jeremy Meeks, but we'll talk about him where it just does benefit them. I'm not a Ford model, but I mean, Ford models, Wilhelmina models, they benefit. But it's objective because some people don't like that. Isn't that so weird? And we have to navigate this on top of everything else, and bills are due. I'm just trying to go to work, you know? So it really doesn't matter if your jawline comes from genetics or Dr. Reynolds over on, 8th Street. Your brain processes the result the exact same way. This person looks put together. Therefore, they must be put together, right? Ugh. And that's where it gets messy, like my kid's room on a Sunday night, dude. The halo effect gives people unearned trust, unearned opportunities, and unearned grace. But here's the gag. It also sets traps. The moment you prove that you're human, you make a mistake, you ask a question that's deemed as stupid, the halo gets yanked off your head and now it's used to weaponize your incompetence. Is it though? Your humanity. But that's not how people see it. Or how people don't feel bad for rich people. But they can still have a bad day. You ever had money in your pocket and had a bad day? But no. Her bad day is nothing like my bad day. But like, I don't know. I mean, I find that so odd. Because like, well, maybe her, love life isn't like yours. Maybe yours is better. Some people would find the things you have invaluable, and they're more than what you can see. Because what I've learned about life is the things you can't see are the things that matter, like your integrity, your respect, loyalty, trust. The things I can see, I can replace over and over and over and over again. Sometimes not people, but usually it's 8 billion people on this planet. Don't you ever for a second get to thinking you're irreplaceable. And I'll quote Beyonce quite often, but it's right. It feels right, So Hollywood knows this game better than anyone because you've seen it. The attractive villain, he gets the sexy violin solo, the warm lighting, the French cafe bistro music, and the vibe. It's just perfect. Not the Tom Ford suit. It's always. But the bad guy, he gets the shiny bald head and the greasy skin and the hairy mole. Like, they'll add a mole and be like, oh, be afraid, kids. It's programming. Like, I remember when I was a kid, my mom would not let me watch The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And one time, my babysitter, Sherry, I'm not going to say her last name, I almost did. I call people by their whole name sometimes, but I won't. She had me watch it, and she didn't know. I was terrified. Now, why? Beauty and the Beast, at the end, he's a nice beast, but he's still a beast. Awful. Do you ever watch Rigoletto? Again, it's taught to us. That guy is disgusting. He's bad. Disgusting to who? I don't know. It's programmed in our kids, which is not good. My mom used to say Hunchback of Notre Dame is the darkest film I've ever seen in my life. My kids, I like, my mom was paranoid a little bit, right? So I caught my kids watching it. Sign it up! I could not. And to this day, my kids bring up that movie. They were like, we flicked the channel and they're throwing tomatoes at this guy in the face. Remember that movie? Sick. I hate that movie. Why would that ever be a children's film? Anyone They calling him type of names. They're like, take this mask off. Oh my gosh. And I have to explain to my kids, like, we don't talk like that about people. We don't think like that about people. We don't laugh. Cause like one time we're in the store and there was a guy wearing really short shorts and my son was like, holy moly. And I was like, no, because this could be the first time he got up out of his wheelchair and he's feeling good about himself. And that's what fit. He could have just lost a lot of weight. He could have just had knee surgery. I mean, you don't know. Mind your business. Who is this pressed? America has a problem, Beyonce. So, even sometimes at times you'll forget that the bad guy is a bad guy because he's gorgeous. Like Jason Statham. How can he be bad? Sometimes he is. Never feels bad to watch him though. And never. And maybe that's why. He's a great bad guy. Because why does Scar have to have a scar? Like he could have looked like the exact same as Mufasa. It's just like the White Knight, Dark Knight. So, Nova. Like, let's talk about Jeremy Meeks, the hot felon. You know what I'm talking about. He had that mugshot with the icy blue eyes, and he has like the olive skin, and he was like, shh. And he was giving like blue steel for no reason at all. And I was like, I don't care what you did. How much is it to bail him out? He thought the same thing too. A mugshot turned into a modeling contract, and millions of Instagram followers turned into generational wealth, and it turned into hanging out with Nicki Minaj. Love her. Because the halo effect tells our brains if he looks good, he can't be that bad. And babies even stare longer at symmetrical faces than asymmetrical ones. My son's name is Adonis, and that's by accident. His dad is gorgeous. I knew he was going to be a handsome little boy, and he is. Okay? Naming your child Adonis is like naming your daughter Pretty Girl. But we knew. So there's something called the Adonis face diagram. This is what maps out your perfect face before you do that dog filter. It's like, we deal with it all the time, but we probably don't ask what it is. And that's the Adonis ratio. It's the ratio of the perfect face. And I want to tell you guys a story of Aphrodite and Adonis, but I don't know if I have time to do that today because I'm already yapping, you guys. But it's a very good story if you look into it. The reason we have summer and winter, I want you to look into the story of Aphrodite and Adonis. I believe that's who it was. But anywho, social media calls it the Instagram face, and this became a global aesthetic. Every time I go in and get my lips done, she's like, people come in here with pictures of Kylie Jenner constantly. And it's so funny to me because, but we're all not her. I know you got the lip kit. I did. Spent that $88 so quick. That stuff went on like chalk. My mom goes, this must be for ballet or something. And I was like, you got to brush your lips you got to have a separate toothbrush to brush your lips with to get that matte off. But I wore it. And I worry sometimes about that. But anyway, lip filler, jawlines, fox eyes, Taylor Swift. The fox eyes are absolutely beautiful. But we go in and do these things, Everyone's starting to look like the same template. And you will notice this, not just in facial features, but in style. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is it fear to face the halo effect? If you take no risks, you really don't risk getting judged in this way. And we live in a society that judges you on looks. And it is something that happens. Like, even like my son, like someone will walk by, he'll hold his breath or something. And I mean, it's like, and everyone's done it. It might just be an instinct. I don't blame him. It's your body. You body autonomy, But it's like, would we do that if like it was like Giselle Bundchen? Would we do that? And it's like, gosh, imagine not being born with that as your thing. That's not fair. I hate that. Like, especially as a girl, like I'll tell my son, like sometimes we'll be talking, because I talk to my son about things like this before I like come out with these topics. We discussed them. He actually helped me pick the name. I had a list of like 16 names and he picked this name. And so my oldest son, he helps me a lot with things like creative because he's also Pisces. I tell my son, imagine being born as not a conventionally pretty girl. That's awful. That in this society, like that's so unfair. Because everybody's beautiful to somebody, first of all. But conventional I'm talking about conventional attractiveness. And I'm talking about especially being a Black woman. Like, if you have Afrocentric features, growing up for me in this town, it was very difficult to feel good about myself. And I see pictures like now, it's something that I had no choice but to do. But I see it affect different girls different ways, like, and it didn't hurt me. It made me really confident. I'm very confident, and that's one thing people will always mention about me is my extreme confidence. And it's not a fake confidence. Like, like I'm not saying it until I believe it. I love it. And I love being me, but it was so hard for me to love that in the 90s in Forest Grove. Well, not so much Forest Grove, Sun River. When I moved to Sun River in 1996, I mean, it was no diversity. It was lacking so much diversity. There were 3 kids that did not speak English, and they would keep them in one certain room and call it ELL. But they only had one teacher, and there was only 3 Hispanic kids. And then I was, the only Black person. Pretty much at every grade or school I went to, like fully Black appearing with and adopted. Through like 7th grade, there was a couple mixed kids, I think. But in high school, there was maybe 1 or 2 other Black kids. And it was like, okay. But that's the most I've ever been around, like had in my school. There was 3 of us. And then that's pushing it. It may just have been me and Vanessa. Hey, girl. It may just have been us, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. So don't quote me on that. But it was no more than 3. I don't know. And it just forces you to like yourself. Especially then you go home and my parents are Swedish and blue eyes and blonde hair. Like they look like, like Gwen Stefani-ish, Brad Pitt looking type of people. And you go home and it's all good there. You're accepted there. And I guess for me, my mom just loved me so much that I never felt like I didn't fit in anywhere. I've never gone in a room in my life and felt like I'm not supposed to be anywhere. But that's just how it affected me. So it makes me wonder if everyone fixes their face, does the halo effect stop working? And I mean fix when we're talking about Instagram face. Fix according to whatever we're going through right now as far as aesthetics goes with people, like the aesthetic that you have. If everyone does that, would the halo effect stop existing? It's like if we all wear school uniforms, are they going to bully the kids that don't have nice shoes? You know what I'm saying? Which is like so hard. Like the goalpost keeps moving. And because if everyone buys into quote unquote, and I'm doing big air fingers, you guys, if everyone buys into perfect, then perfect stops being rare. It's like you'll see these Balenciaga fashion shows, and which I love. Mason Margiela is my favorite designer in the whole world. You see them and you're like, why do rich people want to look like they're not rich? What's that Magnolia Pearl? Like that. But then once everyone else starts looking like that, they distance that. Like everyone got BBLs and now they're taking theirs out because they don't want to be having proximity. Because the point is, it's kind of like hair theory. If perfect stops being rare, it does something to the order of things that it is right now, which isn't always right, When perfect stops being rare, your personality better clock in for work. And here's where it gets darker. TikTok's calling out the ugly side of pretty privilege. This is when I was introduced to TikTok. Sure, pretty gets you into rooms, but once you're in them, people assume it's only because you're pretty. Intelligent, overlooked, talented, ignored, strategic, not credited. And if you're too pretty, suddenly you're a threat. Pretty privilege giveth and taketh away. Is there any winning, guys, or should we just go open like a Ben & Jerry's half-baked and like get that mango chili Stella Rosa and just call it a day and get some Tums? Because I'm not 22 anymore, okay? So let's hack the halo. How do we hack it? If the halo works for you, lean in, dress intentionally. The way they perpetuate sexy is not always real. The right person will think you look good in anything. I'm not talking about like toot it up if you want to, but that's not what I'm saying in general. Dress intentionally. I wear all Black. I could dress intentionally in maybe like a yellow, but then it wouldn't match my heart. I don't know, you guys. I like wearing Black. Like if I could just have Hailey Bieber's closet, but the Black stuff. Like that's what I mean. But I don't know. Dress intentionally. Speak like you belong in the room. always will say a big word to my kids and I'll be like, what does it mean? I teach my kids the prefixes, the suffixes, because I don't want my kids to ever get in a conversation and have someone be condescending to them and they don't know what they said. Like, it's always been important to me to know my language very well, because people will try to talk down to you. And if you know roots, suffix, prefix of a word like hematocrit, or, hematology, the study of blood, bloodology, the study of blood, you can put it together so that you can never talk down to me because I know my language back and front. So, speak like you belong. Always remember you've never been somewhere you weren't supposed to be. And it's good to be on time, but whenever you got there, that's when you were supposed to be there because that's what happened. If you think appropriate thoughts, you should be able to say how you feel in such a way like HR language. People will believe you until you give them a reason not to. So always remember that. Most people are not leaders. Most people are followers. It's just the truth. So become a leader. Just walk in and be a leader. If anyone asks who wants to go first, you want to go first. And they'll say, do you even know what this is for? No, but I know I'm a leader. I know I'm first. Always. And if it works against you, build power where perception can't touch you. So I've used social media to my benefit in many ways to kind of there was a time when people didn't like me. And I was like, well, maybe I'll just start showing people who I am, because I spent so many years being somebody else, like I was saying earlier. And because when you act like somebody else, you attract somebody else's crowd. I started being me, and now my friends list is full of like-minded people. That's why you're here right now. And I so appreciate you, bestie, bro, because this has been so much for me. But you be yourself. And like I said, growing up here, that was so hard for me to do. Because you're adopted. Myself, who? Who is that? And it's beautiful when you find out who you are. Because, look, I'm not going to say looks aren't everything, because I think everybody's beautiful. I think everybody is. I would never look at any human and be like, no, yes, you're here. You're here. This is what I tell my kids. And I bring up my kids a lot because they're like my best friends. They really don't. I say this: the universe made the mountains, the rivers, the waterfalls, the bumblebees. And then they still saw something was missing and made you. As beautiful as the mountains are, as beautiful as the deserts are, you are that. Because those were made and then you were still necessary. Remember that. They can't touch knowledge. They can't touch presence. They can't touch presence. Excuse me. They can't trust consistency. They can't touch what you bring here, because the mountains, the dinosaurs, the bumblebees are crucial, and you were still necessary. And you're necessary today. That's why you're here right now at midnight with your glass of Chardonnay with me. You matter. Make them earn the right to underestimate you. Okay? When I was almost 300 pounds, I would get so sad often. It just was really difficult for me. It was really difficult for me going from a child that, did, modeling for the Children's Place, and I was scouted with Pro Scout, and I'm reading for Welch's grape juice and St. Ives lotion, and then I got really big. And I had to learn to be someone people wanted to know, and also someone I wanted to save. You know what I'm saying? Make them earn the right to talk down to you. You got to talk to me first. We got to be in a conversation first. Love yourself. Confidence is so fun. It is. When it's real. When I was faking and shaking in my boots, it felt like I couldn't say it loud, if that makes sense. Say it. You're here. You're here and there in your space. You start a conversation with me. You have every right to be yourself. You cannot dismantle the game, but you can beat it at its own rules. Okay? So let's just take a deep breath, decompress, because we made it through episode 1, you guys. And I hope you loved it. I have so many things to talk to you guys about. There's 12 of these. 12 of these and $225 on the line. This is like the challenge. Now you know how old I am. So let's take a deep breath. And if your heart feels softer, your mind feels lighter, that's not by accident, bestie. That's us shifting together like the insomniacs that we are. And I'm so happy that you made it here. So at the end of each episode, I'm going to give you 3 little things to spiral on, because I love to do that. Like, if my best friend Joe is listening, I hope that he takes a deep breath after I say every one of these things. Because these are the type of conversations we have. These are the type of things. So let's go ahead and see what I have to say today. Gem number 1. Trauma doesn't just scar the mind. It bends reality. Unhealed pain will keep recreating itself in your outer world until you see it and choose differently. We can agree or not agree. And if you want to give some input on this, please send me an email at mightbemanicthepodcast@gmail.com. I want to know if you guys agree with these, because I don't agree with all of them, but these are just things that I, like, someone's like, what do you want to talk about? I'd be like this. The universe will keep breaking your heart until it's wide enough to hold everything. The universe will keep breaking your heart until it's wide enough to hold everything. Ooh. Episode 3, you're going to like, because it's about something very similar to that. So what do you think? Last one, your intuition isn't a guess. It's a memory from a future you've already lived. It's you in the future nodding back to yourself in the present. Oh, I'm big on going with my gut. I've had a great time spiraling with you guys. It's been a pleasure. It's been my pleasure. I know Lorraine hates when people say that. But I'm so sorry, girl. Okay. So whether you're about to go to sleep, journal, or deep clean your refrigerator all morning, keep your foot on their necks, baby girl. And thanks for tuning in. And for the record, I just might be. You have a good night, guys. See you next week.